Hey everyone, this is definitely going to be the most cumbersome sheet of them all. I think next to the dashboard, this one is pretty all-encompassing, but I'm also most proud of this sheet because I think it's the most useful. I think in terms of a 4-week cycle, getting all of this data just in one spot is pretty powerful. So it's for one athlete, for one lift, and knowing an estimated 1 rep max. At that point, you just select, you can go ahead and name, um, the phase, if you will, or the cycle. Go ahead and call it what you want, and then select the scheme. So here's a nice drop-down menu of over 100 set and rep schemes, ones that I've created that aren't proprietary by any means, but they're based off the 963 protocol and attacking one zone at a time, are the 963 zone 1, 2, 3, separated by extensive, intensive, and accumulating, which you'll see those terms used here with Mladen Jovanovich's set and rep schemes that he's provided in some of his text. And once you pick one, so we can go ahead and pick a pretty brutal one here of the maybe accumulation plateau, then it's going to go ahead and create the workout for you, the whole 4-week cycle. So here's your percentages, your loads, your reps, all based on your estimated 1 rep max. So we're all pretty familiar with that, I would assume. But it's also going to give you the dosing metrics that I like, which is INOL. And if you just forget what that is, you can kind of scroll down here. This whole workout is an INOL score of 0.95. So that places us in the green zone, which we refer to that as minimum effective volume, which is a Mike Israetel term here. And that allows you to kind of assess, okay, here's the effect that I expect to get out of this workout. It's not quite MAV, which is a pretty brutal workout, and MRV, which would be overreaching. That's a near impossible workout to accomplish unless you're really ready to go to that point. You're taking a lot of pre-workout or whatever. This is a great way to just look at the dose of a workout. Notice as you go, though, by the time it's week 4, we're at a 1.48. So we're hitting 75% of our max for 8. We're hitting 4 sets of that towards the end. So that's a pretty brutal workout. So here's the cool thing about this whole sheet here. It's like, okay, cool. I've got my INOL score. I've got the tonnage, the RPE. Here's how it all kind of shakes up. And then it will actually automatically populate these other tabs here, these other weeks, with their loads and everything else. And this is important because for each of these weeks that you have here, you're going to need to go ahead and put in your actual set velocity of this set of 3 and your best velocity of that set. Now, the coolest thing of all is if you do have a load velocity profile, maybe something from your 963 protocol, 40, 60, 80, and you type in, all right, at 40% I hit a 1.23, at 20, at 60% I hit a 0.99, so forth and so on. It will go ahead and show my profile of if this is where I currently am in the moment in terms of I can probably move these weights at these speeds. It will predict on these sets and these reps what kind of speed you'll expect to see as you go on. So SV refers to the goal set velocity. This is how fast you should be able to move that weight on average of the whole set, assuming that your intent is there and it matches the intent that you had when you profiled. The goal best velocity, which is the fastest you probably should move one of those reps of 3 or 5. And then in the gray, you just type in what you actually did. So let's say you're trending well this day, and you end up moving the whole set at an average of 101, and your best speed was a 1.05. So that's set 1, and then you move on. All right, let's skip that second set. Let's go. Ended up moving this at a 6.8 and this at a 0.75. So both higher than what was predicted that I would do based on my profile. Now you're starting to see over here, I'll go ahead and populate this one too. You're starting to see, okay, now how things are shaking up as the session goes, and it's pretty much on point, right? Like here's the goal set velocity and the actual set velocity. It's a little bit faster, but here's where it gets pretty cool. The blue represents, my profile. The red represents how I'm trending otherwise. It's actually predicting I can hit 331 that day when my best speed at 80% or I'm sorry, yeah, at 0.65, I can move that much weight at 0.65. When it's saying that with my original profile, 325 pounds is the most weight I can move at this speed. So now it's looking at my session 1 rep max as the data gets populated. It's saying it's a 411 when I know it to be 405. So you can actually notice that you're getting stronger like in the moment within the session, again, assuming that your profile is accurate and everything matches up well. And the reason why I have date here is that you can kind of put, here are the dates that I actually hit these speeds. So if you PR, like for example, 325, I ended up moving it at a 0.67, then you can go ahead and change that. And then maybe mark the date that it was that you did this. So this could be, July 19th that I actually did that. Just so you can keep track of when it was that you actually hit that speed with that weight. And so as you kind of go on, you're completing your whole workout, you can like sit back and look at your VINOL score, which is not going to have anything here yet until you at least have filled out some of these other ones. So let me just copy and paste this data into here, and then we'll see like, okay, if I actually did this whole workout and these were my speeds, my VINOL is a little bit less than my INOL, meaning that I just moved it a little bit faster than expected, so the dose wasn't as bad. And if I ended up moving it like really fast, throughout the whole deal, then you're definitely going to notice a difference in dosing score here. And so really cool as you just get this live look at how things are trending for this particular workout, this particular rep scheme. And each week you just continue to populate it on this key lift. The dates match up. You can easily print this if you want. It kind of shows what rep scheme you picked, what week it is, what you named it, and all that stuff. And then if you could even add your own set and rep scheme. So if you slide down here to the bottom, if you want to add your own, maybe you want to do one there's 531, which I actually think is already in here, then you just simply have to populate the sets and reps here, and you can just call it Big Squat Tuesday. It's misspelled, but yeah, okay, it's gonna bother me. Change the font, whatever you want to do, and then now as you scroll down in the drop down menu, you see it pop up at the bottom, Big Squat Tuesday, and then there's all the sets and reps. So pretty customizable if you want, if that's your thing and you want to add as many set and rep schemes as you like, go for it. It even shows some metrics here off to the side from a dosing standpoint as you're even creating your own set and rep scheme. Some other cool metrics that Mladen Jovanovic had in some of his original spreadsheets that you might find useful. But yeah, pretty powerful stuff here. This is definitely the coolest sheet that I think I've ever made with VBT and dosing kind of working together. I hope this wasn't confusing, but if you still have other questions, feel free to ask, and I'd be glad to help.